If someone keeps looking at you, this is what it means. Old Stoic Wisdom. Love is not something you look for. Love is something you become. Alfred Tennyson. Have you ever caught someone staring at you and wondered, is this just a friendly glance, or is there something deeper at play in human interactions? Attraction is often veiled in subtle cues. It's not always verbal. Sometimes, the eyes speak volumes more than words ever could. Psychology teaches us that attraction doesn't announce itself with grand gestures, but instead through tiny, almost imperceptible signs, lingering gazes, body language, and the unspoken pauses between conversations. Even if someone doesn't openly express their feelings, their actions often tell a story. In today's post, we're diving into these unspoken signs that reveal when someone may secretly be drawn to you, backed by solid psychological insights. Stay with me till the end, because the last sign, though often overlooked, holds the most telling truth. 1. Micro-expressions reveal the truth. If someone keeps looking at you, it's not just a casual glance, it's a window into their emotions, and you'd better pay attention. You see, there's something you must understand about human behavior. Micro-expressions never lie. These tiny, almost imperceptible movements on a person's face reveal their true feelings before their rational mind even has a chance to intervene. We're talking about those fleeting, split-second expressions that show up when someone thinks no one is watching. It's not something you can fake. The truth is, when you spot these micro-expressions, you're seeing a raw, unfiltered glimpse of what's going on inside their mind. And once you know what to look for, you'll realize that these expressions are more reliable than anything anyone says. Imagine you're deep in conversation, and suddenly they flash a smile. But it's not just a smile. It's a smile that starts in their eyes. You'll notice the subtle crinkle at the corners, maybe even a blush, followed by a quick glance away. That's no polite gesture, my friend. That's instinct. It's a sign that something about you, something about your presence, is making an impact. Don't ignore that. Now, pay attention when they seem surprised, especially when you drop something vulnerable into the conversation. It's brief, almost imperceptible, but it's there. It's not just a surface reaction. It's a sign that you've triggered something deep in their emotional core. They recover quickly, but that initial flicker of surprise tells you everything you need to know. It's not the words they say that matter. It's how their face reacts when they don't know you're looking. I've seen this play out over and over in my years of studying human interaction. And let me tell you, the most telling signs of attraction don't come from rehearsed compliments or rehearsed laughter. No, they come from the micro-expressions, the involuntary, barely noticeable movements that slip through when someone's trying to control what they reveal. And the truth is, you can fake your words. You can fake your laughter, but you can never fake the nervous system's response when you're drawn to someone on a deeper, unspoken level. These micro-expressions reveal the truth every single time. And when someone can't stop looking at you, that's what they're revealing. So, the next time you catch someone staring at you, don't just brush it off. You must be aware of these subtle signals and recognize that the truth of their feelings is in their face, not in their words. Remember, pay attention to the eyes, the small movements, the tiny shifts. These are the real clues that someone's heart is telling them what they can't say out loud. 2. They mirror your movements without knowing it. Don't mistake this for a mere coincidence or something insignificant. When someone keeps looking at you, especially if they are subconsciously mirroring your every move, that is a clear sign that something deeper is going on. It's not just a quirky behavior or chance. It's a profound connection being made. This is known as mirroring, and it's one of the most subtle yet powerful indicators of hidden attraction. What's happening here is more than just an involuntary mimicry. It's a psychological phenomenon deeply rooted in our biology, specifically in a system called mirror neurons. These are special neurons in our brain that activate when we observe someone, especially someone we're emotionally or physically drawn to. They are the body's way of saying, "I'm with you. I understand you." This mirroring isn't a conscious effort. It happens naturally, without thought, and it's an instinctive form of connection. So picture this: you cross your legs. A few moments later, they do the same. You lean forward slightly, and they follow your movement. Maybe you touch your face, and suddenly they reach for their own cheek. What you're seeing isn't mimicry, it's bonding. This is your body's silent way of saying, I am in sync with you. You are so emotionally aligned that even your physical gestures become intertwined. Now, think about the settings where this happens. I've witnessed it countless times in therapy sessions, romantic encounters, and even in those early moments of meeting someone new. It's subtle, but powerful. The most fascinating part is that this mirroring can happen without anyone consciously realizing it. This is the brain's way of forming a deeper emotional connection, of signaling that they are emotionally attuned to you. The body doesn't lie. It reflects what the mind and heart are feeling, even when they haven't been vocalized. You must understand this mirroring isn't just a cute trick or unconscious imitation. It's a biological, emotional bond being formed, often without either party recognizing it. So the next time you're with someone, take a moment to observe how the interaction unfolds. Step back and see if they're echoing your movements. Are they leaning in when you do? Are they adopting your body language, your posture? That's not chance. It's nature's way of showing that your presence has an effect on them that goes far beyond what words could express. That is the magic of connection. Silent, subtle, but undeniably powerful. When someone mirrors your movements, their subconscious is telling you, I am in tune with you. I am emotionally engaged. You are leaving a mark on them, and they are leaving a mark on you. So the next time this happens, take notice. It's not just flattery or coincidence. It's nature's hidden language of attraction. 3. They find reasons to be near you even without talking. When someone is constantly near you, yet avoids direct conversation, it's not by chance. It's a subtle sign of secret attraction. This isn't about words, it's about presence. The ancient Stoics knew this well. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality, said Seneca. A person who's emotionally drawn to you may not speak up or confront their feelings, but they'll still position themselves in your orbit. They'll appear where you least expect them, at work, at events you mentioned casually, in places you frequent. They might not initiate any conversation, but they'll strategically choose seats next to you or stay in the vicinity, finding every excuse to be close without drawing attention. This isn't stalking, it's subtle orbiting, a strategy to be near without saying a word. The greatest wealth is to live content with little, said Plato, which hints that even small moments in your proximity provide satisfaction and emotional stimulation to those around you. In modern life, we may think we're too busy for such things, but we still seek out those we desire, often without fully realizing it. You must understand that this is a powerful, silent signal, one of the clearest signs of hidden attraction. These subtle actions, unnoticed even by the one performing them, are key to understanding human connection. They reveal something deeper about emotional attachment. Don't ignore the signs. Pay attention. People may not speak their feelings, but their actions will always reveal their desires. You must recognize these signs, trust your intuition, and learn from the wisdom of the Stoics. Those who understand human behavior will navigate relationships with power, confidence, and control. In the game of life, mastery comes not from brute force, but from keen observation. Understand the subtle signals of attraction, recognize the silent orbiting, and use that knowledge to move forward with confidence. If someone is constantly near you but avoids direct conversation, it's not just coincidence, it's a subtle sign of attraction. Now, if you recognize these hidden signals, drop a comment right now. I am aware of the silent signals of attraction. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, true mastery comes not from speaking, but from observing. 4. Nervous energy and fidgeting. When someone is constantly looking at you, don't just assume it's a passing glance or a casual observation. It could be something much deeper, something ancient, rooted in human behavior. Attraction, for instance, doesn't always make itself known through bold, confident gestures. Often, it's revealed in something far subtler nervous energy. Yes, when someone is secretly drawn to you. Their body speaks before their mind does. That fluttery, restless feeling you might see as a physiological response, a simple way of saying their emotions are firing off faster than their thoughts can catch up. The nervous system goes into overdrive, pulling the body into a dance of restless energy. Suddenly, they're tapping their fingers, fidgeting with their hands, or adjusting their clothes as if they could somehow control their heartbeat with a slight shift in posture. Maybe they fix their hair one too many times, or their gaze darts around the room, unwilling to settle on anything for too long. Their heart is pounding, their skin is warm. This isn't discomfort, it's attraction. It's the body's fight or flirt mode, trying to release that emotional tension in the only way it knows how. The body, after all, doesn't lie. And so, these subtle, nervous behaviours start to spill out. You'll notice it in therapy rooms, during job interviews, and especially among couples who haven't quite confessed their feelings to one another. It's that awkward, undeniable tension. It's not discomfort, it's emotional electricity at work. And here's the kicker: if they're relaxed and composed around everyone else, but around you they start fidgeting or becoming flustered, that's not by accident. That's attraction trying to hide, but not doing a very good job of it. You must pay attention. This nervous energy is like a secret in plain sight, quietly whispering the truth that attraction can't be hidden for long. So next time someone can't stop fidgeting around you, don't dismiss it. Recognize it for what it really is, a subtle but undeniable sign that something more is at play. 5. Subtle jealousy even when they hide it. When someone keeps looking at you, it can be a little unnerving. The intense, lingering gaze, the quiet observation, it's easy to think it means something obvious. Maybe they like you, maybe they're judging you, but here's the thing. Sometimes, that gaze speaks volumes about something else entirely. Often, it's not about admiration or disdain at all. It's about something deeper, something hidden in the folds of old Stoic wisdom. Now, let's talk about subtle jealousy. It's not the dramatic, over-the-top jealousy you see in movies. You know the type: loud arguments, possessive behaviour, or even controlling actions. No, this is the sneaky kind, the kind that hides beneath the surface, wearing a mask of indifference or humour, and you won't see it coming, not unless you know what to look for. You see, jealousy isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with dramatic flair. In fact, it can be so quiet, so under the radar, that you might miss it entirely. People often misunderstand this emotion, thinking it's only expressed through anger or aggression, but that's simply not true. When someone feels jealous in a more subtle way, they tend to hide it carefully. For example, if someone cares about you, but can't quite express it yet, maybe because they're unsure of how you feel or too proud to show vulnerability, they might act distant when you mention another person, or they might smile at you, but you notice a brief flicker of hesitation, a subtle shift in their expression when someone else pays you attention. This is when jealousy begins to creep in. It's all about what psychologists call concealed emotional threat. It's the fear that someone else might take away the attention or affection they secretly crave. The issue is, they can't outright admit to these feelings. Not yet. So our jealousy has nowhere to go. It can't burst out into a full-blown argument. Instead, it quietly slinks inward, like a shadow, or leaks out in small, almost unnoticeable ways: a sarcastic comment, a sudden mood swing, or an unexplained silence. Think about it when someone is quietly jealous. It's not about the obvious. It's about what's hidden beneath the surface. It's about the things they haven't yet said. Their jealousy isn't a reaction to what you're doing. It's a reaction to what's happening inside of them. So, when someone seems particularly sensitive when others show you attention, or if their reaction feels a little out of proportion to the situation, don't jump to conclusions. Don't take it personally. What you're seeing isn't about what you said or did. It's about what they haven't been able to express yet. And here's the thing that's often overlooked: the people who care the most are often the ones who say the least. They don't wear their feelings on their sleeves. Their emotions are more like carefully guarded secrets. The louder the person, the more obvious their intentions might seem, but the quieter, more reserved ones, they're the ones who often hold the deepest feelings. Their jealousy, their affection, their attachment, it all stays hidden under a veil of silence. The truth is, jealousy doesn't always have to be toxic or destructive. Sometimes, it's just a sign that someone cares, that they're afraid of losing what they value. But you must remember this. If you find someone subtly reacting to situations with sarcasm or a flicker of discomfort, don't dismiss it. Recognize that it's not necessarily about what you did. It's about what they haven't been able to say yet. So, the next time you catch someone looking at you and it feels a little off, pause, take a moment to reflect. You might just be witnessing the silent stirrings of affection, jealousy, or something even deeper. Don't brush it off. That look, it speaks of things left unsaid. 6. They remember the tiny things you say. When someone keeps looking at you, it's not just their eyes doing the talking, it's a signal of deeper emotions at play. The signs are subtle but powerful, like how they remember the smallest details you share. You think it's trivial, but it's not. It's the way their mind selectively filters out the unimportant, while honing in on what matters most to them. This is selective attention in action. They don't just remember your favourite coffee order, they recall the specifics of your childhood dream or the way a song reminds you of your grandmother. These are emotional bookmarks, deeply ingrained in their mind, stored not just as memories, but as moments that speak to their heart. The human brain naturally filters the constant stream of information it receives, but when someone recalls even the tiniest details of your life, it's more than just good memory. It's emotional investment. The soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind, said Caroline Myss. This is what's happening when someone is drawn to you. Their soul is listening, and they're processing not just the words, but the emotional weight behind them. It shows a level of attentiveness that goes beyond the surface, into the realm of affection. When they notice a subtle change in your tone, your mood, or remember things you've long forgotten saying, it's not just observation, it's a deep, silent declaration of connection. In modern life, this isn't about grand gestures or flashy expressions of affection. It's the quiet, unspoken details that matter. If you want to truly connect with others, focus on the small things, the little gestures, the fleeting moments that most would overlook. The more someone remembers, the more they've invested emotionally. The most important things are the hardest to say, said Stephen King. Recognizing this truth is key to mastering human relationships. Be aware of how people respond to your words, for their actions reveal more than you think. Don't let these moments pass unnoticed. You must pay attention to the small things, for they are often the clearest signals of someone's true feelings. When someone keeps looking at you, they are not just seeing your face, they are seeing your soul. If someone's gaze lingers on you, it's not just their eyes, it's their soul connecting with yours. They remember the small details, the moments that speak to their heart. This is emotional investment, a silent declaration of affection. If you recognize this, you're already more in tune with the true nature of human connection. So, here's what I want you to do. Comment below. I see beyond the surface. I understand the depth of connection. Let's hear from you. Your words could reveal what's truly behind the gaze. 7. The twist. They avoid eye contact, but always know where you are. It's easy to assume that attraction is about those intense, locked gazes, those long, deep stares that make you feel seen. But let's break it down, because the truth can be far more subtle. If someone is secretly drawn to you, especially if they're shy, insecure, or unsure of how you feel, their eyes will often avoid yours. But don't mistake that for disinterest. That's just the surface. In reality, their mind is laser-focused on you. This is where visual attention bias comes into play, a fascinating concept from psychology. When someone is emotionally invested, their brain will involuntarily prioritize your presence, even if they're trying to hide it. So, while they may avoid direct eye contact, they'll be aware of your every move, even without looking. They'll glance when your back is turned, look away quickly when you notice, and divert their attention to something else to hide how much they're actually paying attention. Yet here's where it gets interesting. Even though their eyes may not be on you, their body knows where you are at all times. If you shift across the room, they adjust their posture. If you laugh, their body responds, whether they want it to or not. If someone else gets close to you, they'll notice immediately, because deep down, their focus is locked onto you, whether or not they're willing to admit it. I've seen this unfold in counseling rooms, classrooms, and even packed social spaces. That's subtle avoidance. It's not a lack of interest. It's self-protection. Sometimes, when emotions run deepest, people hide their eyes, hoping you won't see just how loud their heart is screaming. Attraction is rarely bold. It doesn't always shout from the rooftops. Instead, it often whispers in fleeting glances, nervous fidgets, and quiet proximity. If you learn to tune into these subtle signals, you'll notice what others miss, the hidden language of the heart. This is something I've observed countless times, and it's always the same. The most profound connections often happen in the silences, in the things left unsaid. So, the next time you're left wondering if someone feels more than just a friendship, pay attention to these signs, because, more often than not, it's the unspoken that tells you everything you need to know. This is how the heart communicates without words. Trust me on this one. 8. They subtly seek your approval. When someone keeps looking at you, don't assume it's just a random glance. There's something deeper at play, something older than we realize. It's rooted in the human need for connection and approval, which is where the ancient wisdom of the Stoics comes into play. You might not notice it at first, but there's a certain subtlety to the way someone is trying to seek your approval, and it's a behavior that carries with it a powerful message. When someone is drawn to you, and their gaze lingers more than it probably should, it's not always because they want to say something or have something specific to share. It's often because they are trying to establish a deeper connection with you. You'll see this in how they interact with you, how they ask for your opinion more than anyone else's, or how they seem especially eager to impress you. At first glance, this might seem like a harmless attempt to be polite, but dig deeper, and you'll realize it's more than that. They're subconsciously signaling that they value your judgment, that they're seeking to align themselves with your thoughts and values. It's not an overt request for validation from everyone around them. It's a focused, quiet plea for validation from you. They want your approval, your acknowledgement, and your admiration without directly asking for it. It's not about the world seeing them in a better light. It's about you seeing them in a way that sparks respect or admiration. Think about it. When someone repeatedly asks you about your preferences, whether it's about a social gathering, a work project, or even something as small as your opinion on a book or movie, it's not merely out of curiosity. They are trying to gauge how closely their thoughts and actions align with yours. They want to know what you value, what you like, and what you think, because they want to mirror that, even if they don't realize it. It's their way of saying, I want to be someone you approve of, someone you respect. It's a sign that they are emotionally invested in your perception of them. They're not just seeking approval in general, they're seeking it specifically from you. This subtle behavior can often be overlooked or misinterpreted, but once you see it for what it is, it's clear. This person is silently reaching out, hoping for your approval, and it's their way of showing that they are drawn to you. It's a reflection of their desire to connect with you on a deeper level, to establish a bond that goes beyond surface-level interactions. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that human behavior was often motivated by a deep, subconscious desire for approval and connection. In their wisdom, they would have told you to observe these moments carefully. They weren't just about acknowledging the obvious flattery or compliments. They were about reading between the lines, understanding that these subtle cues were ways people communicated their deeper emotions and desires. So, when someone is persistently seeking your approval, Whether it's by asking for your opinion, expressing interest in your preferences, or just being overly eager to impress, don't ignore it. These are signs that the person is trying to align themselves with your thoughts, and by doing so, they're hoping to form a deeper connection. They're not just trying to be liked by anyone, they are specifically trying to gain your respect, your admiration, and your trust. It's fascinating to consider how ancient philosophies like Stoicism, which emphasize the value of self-control, reason, and emotional wisdom, would have viewed this dynamic. They would have understood that these moments of seeking approval are natural and part of the human condition. The key, though, is recognizing the behavior and understanding what it represents. When someone is repeatedly looking for your approval in subtle ways, it's not a game. It's a powerful signal that they are emotionally invested in how you perceive them. They want to know that they are on the right path, that they are someone worthy of your respect. In these moments, it's important to recognize that this isn't just about you and them. It's about the dynamics of human interaction, the quiet yet profound ways we seek connection with those we admire or feel drawn to. When you recognize this, you'll understand just how much weight your approval can carry, and why some people will go to great lengths, even unconsciously, to gain it. This is a reminder that human interactions are far more complex than they often appear on the surface. 9. They act differently around you than with others. You've probably noticed it before. Someone you interact with seems a bit off around you, or perhaps even in a way that's different from how they behave with everyone else. This isn't a coincidence. If someone consistently changes their behavior when you're nearby, it's not just by chance. It's a strong indicator of hidden attraction. Don't ignore it. People often show who they really are through their actions, even when they don't realize it. Attraction stirs something deep within us, something primal. It's the human equivalent of a Pavlovian response to someone who has caught our interest. If you catch someone standing a little taller, smiling a little more brightly, or speaking with a spark in their voice when you're around, you're witnessing a subconscious change that reveals their feelings. Let's be clear here. Attraction makes us vulnerable. When we find ourselves drawn to someone, we become hyper-aware of how we present ourselves. It's as if we're walking on a tightrope, trying to balance charm and confidence without tipping into awkwardness. That extra bit of self-consciousness is often what leads to a shift in behavior. If they suddenly seem more engaged, more animated, or even a little nervous around you, that's not a fluke. It's their subconscious mind signaling to you that you've made an emotional impact. This shift in behavior is their attempt to make a positive impression, to stand out in a way that highlights their best qualities. Attraction has the power to turn us into slightly different versions of ourselves. We might try to be the cool, calm person we normally are, but deep down, that emotional investment can't help but colour our actions. This is one of the most telling signs you can spot when someone is emotionally drawn to you. They act differently around you because, simply put, your presence stirs something within them. You must pay attention to these subtle changes. They can sometimes be hard to catch if you're not looking for them, but the shift in their demeanour is often one of the clearest signs of someone's secret feelings for you. If they consistently make an effort to present a version of themselves that's slightly more charming, more engaged, or even more self-aware when you're around, it's not an accident. It's their unspoken way of saying, I care about how I come across to you. Here's the thing. Attraction doesn't just mean they like you. It means that, on some level, they want to connect. They want to make an impression, to make you feel like you're something worth their time and attention. So, when someone changes how they act around you, take note. It's the body's natural way of responding to emotional triggers. And when you start to see these signals, realize that you're not just witnessing random behavior, you're watching someone try to draw closer, to make a connection, all without uttering a word. That's the power of attraction. Silent, but undeniably clear. And remember, it's not just about the smile or the posture, it's about the emotional undercurrent of those actions. Your presence changes the vibe, and they can't help but react. Attraction does that to people. It shifts the atmosphere. and they are doing their best to make sure they come across in the best possible way. Be aware, because this is one of the clearest signs that their feelings for you are deeper than they're letting on. So, don't dismiss these changes as mere coincidence. They're far more intentional than you might think. If someone consistently acts differently around you, it's likely because, at some level, they want you to see them differently too. 10. They find excuses to touch you. You know the feeling someone's gaze lingers on you, and there's this subtle energy in the air. It's the sort of attention that makes your skin tingle, even if you're trying not to notice it. But here's the thing, it's not just about the stare. If someone keeps looking at you, pay attention to what they do next. Do they find little ways to touch you? A tap on the arm, a hand on your back as they pass by, or maybe even an innocent nudge. These actions are far from random. In fact, they are powerful, subtle signals. Touch is a form of communication older than words. It's primal, ancient, and it speaks directly to the heart. When someone keeps looking at you and finds excuses to touch you, it's not just about physical proximity. It's a sign that they're trying to establish a deeper connection, emotionally and physically. This isn't some fleeting gesture. It's intentional, even if their subconscious mind is doing the talking. Now, let's be clear. These touches aren't necessarily sexual or overtly romantic. No, that's not always the point. Sometimes, it's the small things, the brief touch on your arm, the hand brushing against yours, or a tap on the shoulder. Simple, innocent acts. But when they happen frequently, there's more to it than meets the eye. They are opening a door, trying to let you in, even if they haven't consciously admitted it yet. You must understand, this touch is a window into the emotional landscape of a person. There's a reason why ancient Stoics and philosophers put such weight on body language. In their time, they understood that the human body could speak louder than words ever could. A simple touch could express affection, admiration, or even a longing for connection. So, when someone keeps touching you, even in the smallest of ways, it's their silent way of telling you something they might not yet have the courage to say aloud. That is the beauty of this ancient wisdom. It doesn't need to be loud or boisterous. It doesn't need to shout or demand attention. It simply is subtle, yet profound. If someone's repeatedly finding reasons to touch you, it's not by accident. Pay close attention to the pattern. These little moments are clues. They aren't just about being physically close. They're about forging a deeper bond, perhaps even a silent invitation to move beyond surface-level connection. You mustn't dismiss this, especially if you feel it in your gut. Body language is hard to fake. A slight touch on the arm, a hand on your back. They're small, almost imperceptible actions, but they speak volumes. This isn't just idle behavior. It's the start of something meaningful. And that's where you come in. Do you feel the same way? Are you aware of the energy flowing between you? Sometimes, the most profound connections are built not through words, but through the quiet power of touch. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't waste time wondering if it means something or not. If they keep looking at you and keep touching you, it's a sign that they want something more than just a casual acquaintance, something deeper, something lasting. You must realize that these actions are the building blocks of emotional closeness, and you don't have to analyze it endlessly. You simply need to notice it and respond. Remember, this isn't about grand gestures. It's the small things that count. A light tap, a playful nudge, or an accidental touch. These subtle moments carry deep meaning. Don't be blind to them. They are a window into what's happening beneath the surface, into the heart and mind of the person before you. That is the power of touch. Simple, yet profound. And when it happens consistently, it means they're trying to communicate something deeper. So the next time someone keeps looking at you and finds reasons to touch you, take a moment. Consider it as more than just a passing gesture. It's a signal, a message that they are, in their own way, trying to connect with you, and that connection could lead somewhere extraordinary. In the end, it's not just about the look or the touch, it's about the connection that both of you are unconsciously striving for. You must pay attention to these moments. They hold more weight than you realize. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If this video made you think of someone special, share your story in the comments below. I'd really love to hear your experiences. Remember, when someone's gaze lingers, it might not just be about attraction. It could be a sign of something deeper, curiosity, admiration, or maybe even a silent connection. Pay attention to the small details. They often tell you more than words ever could. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the fascinating world of psychology and human connection. Until next time, stay curious and keep reading between the lines.